Hello and welcome into another edition of Sitting Down with Sgar. I'm the voice of Hoya Football Jeremy Huber, joined again by the head coach of the Hoyas, Rob Sgarlata. Rob, thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, I mean, good to see you.
Coach, want to get into the St. Francis game, but first off, we got to talk about Josh Tomas. Again, sets the single season and career receptions record. Josh just keeps producing. Again, it's almost like a broken record, but I know you like talking about him because he's a heck of a player and a heck of a kid. Again, going through doing what he did and doing it with a flourish with 2 touchdown catches.
Yeah, Josh is one of the most consistent players I've been around. And, we always talk about you don't rise to an occasion, you think the level of your training. And if you've been at practice, if you come out, he's one of the guys that's first out there and he's always out there working. And, you always know where he is because you can hear him, but you also can notice where he is from his play. So whether it's catching punts or coaching the younger guys when he's not in for a snap, he's a huge presence for us, and it's great to see him have, and nothing that surprises me, but I expect him to do that each game. And he's been that force on offense throughout the year.
Coach, thoughts on St. Francis? Obviously, good start in that one. The Red Flash is a good team. They come back. Thoughts on what was a pretty good performance, but not enough in the end?
Yeah, it comes down, we talk about it each week, week in, week out. The difference between the St. Francis game and the win at Lafayette was we were presented with 4 or 5 plays we had to make in that third quarter, and we didn't. Uncharacteristically, and we turned the ball over 2 series in a row. And defensively, we need to come up with stops. It doesn't matter where we put the ball down. It's a bring it on mentality, and we needed to stand up in those 2 drives. We weren't able to, and St. Francis is a good football team. Coach has done a great job there. But those things are plays that we, have to have in critical times. We talk about the beginning of the third quarter and that part of the game being really critical for us. So, that was a big emphasis point this week, as it is always, to take care of the ball, as well as making sure that we come out of the locker room at halftime, not satisfied with a good first half and be able to continue and finish, which is something that we were able to do at Lafayette and unfortunately weren't able to do against St. Francis.
Coach, in the first half, a couple drives that ended in St. Francis territory, either couldn't get the fourth down play to extend the drive. Was there a part of you thinking after the game, hey, man, if we could have kept those drives going, maybe made that cushion a bit bigger, this is a different ball game?
Yeah, anytime that you have a 6-2, 7-2 football team, on the ropes at 14, you need to finish. We talk about dragging people out into the deep water and continuing to play no matter, whether it's we've played well or, we're learning from things that we haven't done well. We need to keep playing and raising that level. So yeah, you'd like to put more points up, in that first half and continue to finish some drives, and really capitalize on a couple of defensive stops we had early in the game. So, it was really good to see, our guys respond after St. Francis scored late in the second quarter to come up with a score and then a stop of our own. So we're really looking to build on those sequences and make sure that our players understand how critical it is, to play hard throughout the game and have success in those critical plays.
Coach, after one of those stops that St. Francis got on you guys, you kind of quick turned around on them where Wedner Cadet picks another ball off, his fifth of the season, takes it back. Again, we knew this kid had talent, but did we know this was coming?
Yeah, if I'd be lying to you if I said I did. But throughout the summer, from the first day Wedner stepped out there, you could see that he's got very good physical skills. He's just going to get better as he gets bigger and older and stronger. Um, but his ability to turn interceptions into touchdowns back to back weeks, it's been a long time since we've done that here. He's made his presence felt there, and he very close to blocking a couple kicks last weekend as well. So if you look at it, he's just in his, I think, fifth or sixth game because he was fighting through a couple injuries this year. So as he continues to play, I think his level of play is going to continue to get better.
Coach, you had a little add in on the run game this week as Tyler Knopp got a few carries from the quarterback position, and it seemed like it ran pretty well. Though I will ask it this way: when you go to a Knopp and you're taking out your really standout quarterback in Holly, is there a balance of trying to figure out, hey, where can we get these yards from the quarterback spot, but also not disrupt our own quarterback's rhythm?
Yeah, Pierce is going to be really mad at you for that question. If you watch those plays, he blocked his tail off
He
at
did. He
receiver.
did.
He did a great job. He covered up the DB a couple of times. Yeah, that is a concern with the rhythm piece of it. And I would say this: I think Coach Spence has done a great job in his room of people understanding their roles. I also, really applaud both Pierce and TK for their maturity at the quarterback spot. They are each other's biggest fan, and that's something I think that they learned by example watching Joe Brunell work with Pierce last year. So, it's a real credit to Coach Spence, the trust that they have in the room. And, TK is explosive. You can see at the end of some of these games, he was able to go in and run the whole catalog, which he has the ability to do, and throw the football. So I know if I were on the other side on defense, it's always something that I worried about with having to defend two quarterbacks in two different systems. So hopefully that's given them some more things they need to prepare for, and also will help us to continue to improve with our run game.
One last one on St. Francis, Coach. Red Flash had a lot of kind of late second changes in their lineup. I believe a lot of their DBs didn't play. They kind of switched quarterbacks from what was a really athletic, mobile guy to a little more of a pocket passer. Is it tough as a staff to get maybe that news 15 minutes before game time and then have to go, okay, do we change? Do we kind of keep the status quo? Do we tweak? What goes into that as a coach when you're presented with that?
It all depends on what you can control. We prepare the way we prepared for the week. You have your systems in place. And honestly, and I've said this each week, it all depends on how we play. So, they used two quarterbacks throughout the year. The quarterback we faced played a lot early, played in the Akron game, and, had some success. So, as far as that goes throughout the season, if you look, just especially the Patriot League teams, you'll have injuries down the road. Down the run here, down the stretch, and you have to be ready for the next man up mentality. So, week 12, 13, seeing something new or something entirely different, it's pretty hard to execute it at a high level if you haven't been doing it most of the season. So there are all little tweaks and little different personnel things that you might specifically scheme up for the top receiver or quarterback. But by and large, our game plan stayed intact.
Coach, let's move over to Bucknell, a series that's especially lately has been very competitive. Why do you think that is?
Two good football teams. I've a ton of respect for Coach Cicchini and what he's building there at Bucknell. Before him, it was Coach Susan, who I consider one of my mentors and good friends within the profession. So I think extremely well coached. They play hard. Historically, have been very tough on defense, especially up front. So, it's been a good series for us. I'm sitting here at my desk and I'm looking to my right. It's actually the first Patriot League win we ever had, 32-31 here at Georgetown. So it's been a rivalry that's gone back and forth. And I think in the last 10 games, it's been decided by a touchdown or less.
Coach, last year up at Lewisburg, you guys ran the ball well against them. I
Yeah.
believe you had both Herman Moultrie and Josh Stakely up or over the 70-yard mark. What allowed you guys to run the ball so well against them, and can that be replicated this year?
I hope so. I think our guys up front have done a good job protecting the quarterback, and at times we've been successful running the football. So, for us, I think that mentality of coming in with a physical mindset, being a team that's going to be able to come in and run the football, especially in critical situations, that's who we're building into being. And, you saw it a little bit in Lafayette, you saw it a little bit in a couple of games earlier this year. Hopefully this weekend will give us another opportunity to build, in that mindset and that physical style of play that we really want to be known for here at Georgetown.
Well, Coach, that feels like the perfect transition into our Sisu spotlight for this week, as we will hear from one of the offensive linemen that helped up at Bucknell last year, Sam Telesa, the senior. We've seen him up and down, and as we talked to Sam a little earlier, again, one of the shorter tackles in the Patriot League, but one who is very intense. And as you said, Coach Sgarlata gets out there and is a dogged competitor, which makes it good for him. Sam Telesa, thank you for joining us on Sitting Down with Sgar.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Jeremy. Appreciate you, man.
Well, Sam, we want to ask you, the reason we had you on, we could talk about O-line play all day, and I'm sure Coach got a lot of great things. We might get into those as well, but the important thing here is we wanted to ask you about a program you're part of, a really good one at Georgetown, the Baker's Scholars Program. It's kind of got some rave reviews and has really changed some lives. What exactly is it?
Yeah, the Baker Scholars Program, Georgia F. Baker Scholars Program, is a business initiative program for those pursuing liberal arts degrees, who also have a passion for business, who are business driven individuals. We bring a mosaic of people into the program, about eight or six per year, and we start in sophomore year with a very intense interviewing process, really hard essay. Leading into that is two sets of interviews, one with current scholars and two with all of the trustees on the board. So it's about 30 people that you interview with in a group setting. It's been a program led by Stefan Zimmers, Dean Zimmers, for the last few years, or for as long as I can remember. And he's been somebody that's drilled into us being people for others, being men and women for others. One of the core pillars and tenets of the program itself, and not just being people about business, not just being people about making money or wanting to go into fortune, but also being people that can go into fortune, being able to help others. So that's what the Georgia Baker Scholars has been for me, and what kind of an overview of what it is.
And Coach Sgarlata, I want to bring you on. It's funny, when we talked to Sam earlier, he had a quote on the website, said, "I wanted to apply to the program because I saw an opportunity that would enhance me as a scholar and more importantly as a person." And his comments, and then the one he just had between Men for Others and 4 for 40, I said, Sam, when you were saying that, was Coach Sgarlata's voice kind of going in the back of your head? Man, I'm saying something Scar would say. Again, how proud of you to see one of your guys adopting what you've kind of preached with your players.
Yeah, we're really lucky being here at Georgetown. What we're building with our football program aligned with Georgetown as a whole and the community. I was actually classmate with Dean Zimmers, and he's done a great job of taking care of all the Baker scholars, and especially the football family that's been involved with Bakers. Sam was mentored before he got in the program by Jimmy McLaughlin, one of our former receivers, and Xander Karpusas, one of our former defensive linemen. So one of my classmates, Matt Luckett, is one of the trustees, and has really helped to impress upon Sam and our other players just what an opportunity it is. This is a Georgetown-wide, extremely selective program. That's, you talk about being one of the best to get to Georgetown, and now within the Georgetown community, for Sam to be a part of this and be able to contribute is huge for us. And for us to continually have a football presence and athletics presence within this program, I just think speaks to the talent that we can attract to our program and the complete education that our guys are getting here, both on and off the field.
Sam, you guys had a recent trip as part of the Baker Scholars program. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we take an annual trip, a fall trip, devised by our fall trip committee, every single year. Last year we had a chance to go to Atlanta, Georgia. This year we're able to go to Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's usually a networking type of trip to broaden our network. This year it entailed 12 business trips, with a variety of companies, that of which hedge funds, angel funds, consulting firms. We're to visit with General Mills, Mortenson Contracting, one of the largest contracting groups here in the United States. That was eye opening for us because for the Georgia Baker Scholars Program, we're looking to press upon how can we build our network outside of the gates of Georgetown, and where we're given leverage as scholars in this program to be able to go out into the country. That's a blessing that we have, to be able to go out to Minneapolis and to network with people in Minneapolis, in the Midwest, where we wouldn't have had the chance if we weren't in the program itself. It was real successful. We were able to meet with, Doug Martin, the chief marketing officer of General Mills, who heads that whole marketing sector for them, which was a great opportunity for us to be able to learn a little bit more about that. For myself, not knowing much about that, it was kind of a little education slideshow for myself. And then we ended our trip with McKinsey and Co., meeting with two business analysts, one of which who came to Georgetown. And so seeing that pipeline for me was like, all right, if they can do it as well, I know I can as well too.
Couple more with Sam Telesa. And Sam, every time we get a guest on the show, we like to kind of go back and forth with Coach and the guest, a story. Coach, we'll start with you. What's your best Sam Telesa story?
It's probably the unofficial. When I went out to see him out at home in Oregon, Sam cooked me up. Sam, what we eat?
We had the call probably like a day before, and coach was like, "I'm gonna come out and visit," and I was like, "Oh shoot." I was like, all right, cool. And at that time, my family and I were kind of in a tough spot, so we had to go to a family member, my uncle's place, to host Coach Sgar. And we went out to my uncle's place, and I was like, Coach Sgar's coming. And my uncle was like, oh, well, we got to fix up some food. And in my culture, in my Samoan culture, it's called it's like a gift. It's like a gift for making the way to come out this way, and so making that trip. So we cooked up like a few Samoan dishes. One was sop suey, which is like chop suey, a remake of a Chinese dish with Chinese influence, historical reference. And then we had corned beef, which is a staple in the Pacific, especially coming out of New Zealand, and then a few other dishes. And we also had pizza.
Yeah, but nobody got to eat the pizza because your two brothers demolished them, right? How old were they then?
Yeah, my younger brother Scotland was 10, and my little brother was like 4 or 5. I remember we made the food, Samoan food, for Coach Sgar, and it's usually just for the older people to eat it, for the elders. And we got the pizza just in case Coach Sgar didn't want it, or if like just the boys wanted it. And we ordered like 2 large boxes from Domino's. I remember we came and we ate a little bit of the Samoan food, and I turned and I was like, "Oh, let me get Coach some pizza." And we looked into the living room, and like my 2 brothers are sitting there watching TV, eating one box and one eating the other. And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "All right, well, now we don't got pizza for Coach Sgar." And so we just sat there at the dinner table, and just chopped it up for the rest of the night.
It was a great visit, great family, and one of the other things Jeremy and Sam's too modest to talk about it, but Sam runs our chapel for us, and is one of the leaders for the GU Christian athletes here at Georgetown. So tomorrow, we'll have run through and practice and those things, but one of the best parts of the week is team chapel that Sam has been running for us before we have our team lunch. So, really special to have Sam just as an example of, the kind of talent we can attract here nationwide. And then just looking at the things he's done, on the field, he's been great with our younger players, been great in the weight room, the whole thing. On top of the impact that he's having as a Georgetown student within our community, with one of the best, most elite programs that you can get into at Georgetown. So just honor having him with us and wearing blue and gray for us each week.
Yes, sir.
Well, that's a great way to wrap it up, Coach Sgarlata. Sam, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck with the rest of the campaign. And again, 4 for 40, the rest of your time at Georgetown and moving on. I'm sure it is going to be you're going to be one heck of a guy to watch.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Thank you, Coach R.
That's Sam Telesa, and for Coach Rob Sgarlata and our producer, Dylan Smith, I'm Jeremy Huber. This has been Sitting Down with Sgar. Remember, Hoyas play Bucknell on Saturday, 12:30 Eastern. See it at Cooper Field, or you can go ahead and catch it on ESPN, the Patriot League on ESPN. Again, for Sam, for Coach, I'm Jeremy, saying goodbye and Hoya Saxa.